Beamy 33. Work as a logistics manager. Always believe life is fair in the long run. Thought people get what they deserve. Never liked overcomplicating things. My sister Hannah is 36. She's ambitious, loud, always on the move. Never stays still. Always talking about her next project. Married to Jason for 12 years. They have a 10-year-old son, Ethan. Jason is quiet. Works as a librarian. Reads more books in a month than I do in a year. Cooks dinner every night. Takes Ethan to school before work. Helps him with homework every evening. Never complains. Never raises his voice. I always thought he was too soft. Someone who let life happen to him. Once at a family gathering I told him, "Man, you'd be lost without Hannah." He smiled, said maybe. I laughed, said at least you know your role. He nodded, went back to helping Ethan with homework. He asked Ethan about his spelling test. Ethan grinned, showed him a paper with a big red on it. Jason high-fived him and went to refill everyone's drinks. I never thought about that conversation again. About a year later, little things started to change. Hannah stopped coming to Sunday dinners. Said she was busy with work or too tired. But her Instagram told a different story. Photos at rooftop bars. Weekend trips with friends. Smiling with people I didn't recognize. Jason still showed up with Ethan. Still brought dessert even when nobody asked. Never mentioned her absence. I figured it was just marriage stuff. One night, I stopped by their place to drop off a package. Hannah wasn't home. Ethan was in pajamas watching cartoons. Jason was in the kitchen making grilled cheese. I asked where she was. He said work dinner. His voice was steady, but he didn't look at me. On the counter, I noticed a folder. It said custody timeline. I picked it up without thinking. Inside were notes about documenting a partner's instability. Dates, times, little incidents written out. I asked Jason what it was. He said it was nothing. Put the folder away and changed the subject. A few weeks later at a barbecue, Hannah joked about his job. Called it safe little librarian work. Said he could be making twice as much if he took risks. He just kept cutting Ethan's burger. She laughed, said he's more of a housewife than I am. Her friends laughed too. Mom looked uncomfortable. Dad stared at his plate. I laughed along, thinking it was harmless. Soon Hannah started sleeping in the guest room. Said she needed space to focus on herself. Yet her social showed brunches, shopping trips, concerts. Jason still made her coffee every morning. Still ironed her work shirts. Then she started telling friends he was distant and unmotivated. Hinted he might be controlling with money. No proof, no evidence, just her words. Jason looked tired but never defended himself. I assumed he just didn't want to argue. First court hearing I went to watch. He's a man with a steady job, no criminal record, no violence. How bad could it be? Her lawyer was relentless. Later I learned she had met with that lawyer 6 months before. Once she asked him to start texting his thoughts instead of saying them. Said it would help her understand. He agreed, kept every message, thinking it was healthy. In court she printed them. Highlighted words like frustrated, anxious, don't know what to do. Made it seem like he was unstable. Even a text saying I'm tired, I just want peace, was framed as a red flag. She had already moved money out of their joint account. Screenshotted random texts out of context. Wrote reminders to mention his so-called temper in court. We never saw him angry. But once she said he shuts down when it matters. I thought she was venting. Now I think she was rehearsing. A week before the next hearing she posted about healing from emotional neglect. Perfectly timed for court. They twisted an old text into proof he was controlling. Mentioned one argument where he raised his voice. Said he refused couples therapy. The judge nodded like it all made sense. Our lawyer barely spoke. Jason sat still, staring ahead. I wondered why he didn't fight back. but I stayed quiet. Second hearing, the judge ruled. She got the house. She got primary custody. He got visitation when she approved. He had to pay child support, alimony, and her legal fees. Mom squeezed my hand. I told him, at least you still get to see Ethan. He didn't answer. He moved into a small apartment. Barely room for a bed and desk. Said it was temporary. One Saturday I stopped by. He and Ethan were building a Lego city on the floor. Ethan called him mayor. Jason laughed, said, "Nobody, you're the mayor." I never saw him smile like that again. I asked how often he saw Ethan now. He said depends how generous she's feeling. Last time he asked, she said Ethan had a busy weekend. Sometimes he only found out Ethan was sick when Mom mentioned it from Facebook. He showed me a message. "Hey, can I take Ethan Saturday?" Her reply, "I'll let you know, depends how he's feeling." He sighed, said court says she's primary, so she decides what's best. I asked, "Can't you fight it?" He said, "With what money?" Then whispered, "What's left to fight for when asking makes me look unstable." He started working weekends to keep up with payments. Missed family dinners. Texted less. Didn't answer calls. Mom said she was worried. I told her he's just adjusting. Dad said he's not the same. I told him he's overreacting. Mom shrugged, said men just don't talk. One evening he came over with dark circles under his eyes. Brought Ethan a remote control car. Hannah said, "We don't do plastic." He nodded, said nothing. We all acted like it was normal. After dinner, Mom whispered to me, "She's making it sound like we were all part of it." She looked around like someone might hear. Said I never wanted to say this, but she corrects Ethan in front of him all the time. Said I saw the way she looked at your brother, like he was furniture. Dad joined and said, I should have spoken sooner. He stirred his coffee, but didn't drink it. Said we thought she was just stressed. Said never thought she'd paint him as the villain. Mom nodded, said the worst part is I think she believes it now. A few days later, Jason called. His voice was low and shaky. Asked, "Do you think I was a bad husband?" I laughed, said you just weren't expressive enough probably. He paused, said maybe you're right. That was the last time we spoke. 2 nights before he disappeared. He texted me at 4 a.m. "I'm sorry, I'm not enough." I deleted it without replying. Thought men deal with their feelings alone. Once I heard him crying in his room. Soft, like he didn't want anyone to hear. I almost knocked, but told myself guys don't cry unless they want attention. So I walked away. Weeks later, he missed Ethan's birthday dinner. Mom said he was probably working late. The next day his boss called. Said he hadn't shown up in 3 days. Mom sent me to check on him. I knocked, no answer. The super opened the door. The apartment was silent. Bed neatly made. Pill bottles on the counter. A folded note on the table. Windows slightly open. He was gone. EMTs arrived and confirmed suicide. Mom collapsed into tears. Dad stepped outside and didn't return for hours. I sat at the kitchen table, staring at his coffee mug. World's Best Dad printed on it. 3 weeks later, Hannah posted a smiling photo at a rooftop bar. Caption, "Survivor era unlocked." Comments full of heart emojis, and "You go girl." Someone asked about Ethan. She replied he's doing better now without the chaos. Her profile picture changed. Her last name stayed the same. I went through his things. Found his old phone. Passcode was still Ethan 2013. Opened the Notes app. Hundreds of entries, each starting with "try again." March 5th, tried to smile. At work nobody noticed. March 17th, bought a toy for Ethan. She never let me give it. April 2nd, saw a video of dads reunited, cried until I fell asleep. April 20th, thought about leaving but couldn't leave him too. May 8th, last note, if something happens, tell him I love him. I tried so hard, I just wasn't enough. His journal was open on the desk. It said I'm tired of pretending I'm fine.